Welcome to Real Community Talks, a video and audio podcast dedicated to making real conversations with community influencers available to everyone. I'm your host, Matt DeSilva, and I meet with some of the dopest community influencers across the greater Toronto area who, maybe by the world standards, might be micro-level influencers, but I know are doing macro-level things. Stay tuned each Tuesday night as we dive into each guest's life, talk process, and get to hear their unique story which molded them into the person they are today. The stories you hear are not necessarily formulas for success, but examples of individuals who are making their dreams possible despite obstacles. I firmly believe that everyone has a unique story that could potentially change someone's entire perspective on their circumstance. I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to Real Community Talks, where real conversations with community influencers are made available to everyone. I'm your host, Matt DeSilva, and on today's episode, we have Mississauga's Young Citizen of the Year, my boy, Shawayne Dunstan, on the show. Shawayne, thanks for being here today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
For those that may not know who Shawayne is, and if you don't, you're whack. Shawayne is a spoken word artist and poet. He's a published author with 5 books on Amazon, major bookstores, other online outlets. He's an entrepreneur. He's an actor. He's a cook. He's a recreation and leisure worker. He's a dancer. He's a singer. As I mentioned, is Mississauga's Young Citizen of the Year winner from 2017 and is a huge community advocate who puts on poetry workshops and readings in his community. So with all that, why don't we segue into what's your origin story? So who is Shawayne Dunstan and where are you from?
Yeah, my name is Shawayne Dunstan. I'm from Jamaica. I came up to Canada in 2006, man. And I've just moved around. I'm the type of person where I never stay in one place too long. But when I came to Malton, I knew that, I wanted this to be my home, right? I like the community. I like my peers. I like my everyone that I was meeting. Like, it seemed like there was so much opportunities and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Before I came to Malton, I didn't really go to the community center or hang out in the parks and stuff because I was trying to find my spot.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of felt like an outcast. But I was moving around from Toronto, North York.
Yeah.
And then eventually I settled down in Malton in about 2010. And I went to Brandon Gate Public School. I went to Darcel, and then I spent my high school at Ascension, actually, and stuff. So throughout my education, throughout school, I participated in many different programs. Something that's really important to me when it comes to school was always being dramatic. I'm a dramatic type of person, like doing things that involve my body and my hands and stuff. I can't sit in one place too long. I just feel like, I want to get up and do something very inspirational.
For
stuff,
sure.
Right?
Yeah. I think you're our first ASC guest on the show. I think most of the people have been Lincoln guests. So.
Nah, you got to represent. You got to represent.
So you were born in Kingston, Jamaica. How old were you when you moved again to?
I was 5 and I came out July 30th, 2006. I don't know why I memorized that, but
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when I like what you said. You said you were trying to find your spot.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess when you were at Jamaica, I guess you were still young enough to not really really worry about spots. You're worried about, playing, eating kind of thing. And then you went to Toronto and North York.
Yeah.
Was it why did your family want to come to Malton? What was about it that they kind of said that this is where they wanted to be?
I think they really just liked what they were hearing about the community, and the homes really just intrigued them.
Yeah. And
what I mean necessarily about finding my spot, I had friends prior to moving to Malton, but I didn't get involved as much, right? I would just keep to my own. That was I had a type of mentality where it's go to school, just come home and mind my own business, right? Even though there was so many different things that I could have participated in such as sports or after school clubs, I didn't feel that drive necessarily until I came here. When I came here, I started doing things such as being a part of the recycling club. That was something really small, and then I that led up to going into bigger things such as the talent show even, right? So it's been a journey.
So I always hear people say they send their kids or youth themselves say they go to Ascension because Ascension's better than Lincoln. Like, is that a true statement? Do you believe?
I've heard that, but in my instance, it was just right outside my house. Like, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, you know, I had to choose like out of boat. But no, man, I literally lived like 3 houses down.
Like when I picked this guy up for the episode today, I'm like, yo, you live right next to school. You were never late, and this guy's like, I can't really say that I wasn't late. I'm like, how? The man is like literally down the road.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. You see, you know what happens? I'm the type of person where I love sleep. I'm tired.
Facts.
And like, you know, what happens in the morning is, you know, you'll set your alarm for like 7:30 or something, right? And then part of your mind is like, man, you could have used that 5 minutes, right? And then your alarm will go off again. It's like, do you really need breakfast? And I'm like, what? I don't need breakfast, man. I can function. And then you'll get to school and it's like, bro, I could have been on track and field. The amount of times that I was running up the stairs and stuff. And the teacher's like, stop running. I'm like, I got to get to class.
Oh, man. So, was it at Ascension or was it at middle school that you kind of came into the poetry and spoken word scene?
I came into the poetry scene in middle school, actually.
Where'd you go?
I went to Darcel.
Okay.
Right? And that really happened because I had this teacher, right? Her name was Miss Grasby, and I had this project one day. And we were just analyzing poetry. And before this, I never really heard of poetry before, right? And she was breaking it down to us. And she was showing us this like newsletter. And she was showing how youth were showcasing their voice through poetry and stuff. So she got us to start writing our own poems. So I'm the type, I just put something together. Yeah. And I thought it was nothing, right? You know, I just spent like 5 minutes, and I actually spoke about one of my friends that she had like an eating disorder and stuff, and I really cared about that person. I still do care about that person. So I wanted to write something to cheer up and show that somebody actually cares about her. Yeah. And when the teacher read it, she's like, you know what, you have like potential, so much potential. This is good and stuff. And I'm not gonna say immediately, like I was like, yeah, you know what, just because of that advice, I want to become a writer. Nah, it's been a journey, really. But that was really, you know, the spark that really led up
for sure
to all of this. Just
wow. Like, so I guess that shows the importance of like you said, it wasn't the spark, like the factor that led to where you are today. Like I'm sure you went through trial and error, and you kind of had to, like, I mean, people can speak stuff over us. Like people said I would be this, and I'm in a totally different path in my life. But I think it shows the power of a teacher, a parent, you know, a family member, a friend. The words that they speak over your life have power. Like if she didn't speak that over your life, you may not have even considered the poetry scene, right?
And that's why I've always had such respect for the role models at schools. And what I mean that either that's your fellow peers or teachers, because some of the things that they say, they can affect you in many different ways. And in that instance, like, as I said, even though it seemed like it wasn't that much of a big deal, it just stuck with me. And to this day, I have so much respect for her. I have so much respect for my other teachers that just kept on telling me, you know what, just keep at it. Even on the days when it seems like, you know, this might feel like it's not for you. Like, I'm not good enough. Like you'll look around at all the other competition or other people and stuff. But like, there's like, just keep at it. Believe in yourself. You know, if you compare yourself to other people, then, you know, you're just trying to be like them. Then you forget the importance of your self-worth. Yeah. And in this day and age, your self-worth is all you got. Right? You can't compare yourself to other people because you're not them. Don't wake up and be like, oh man, I wish I could be like that person. No, find what's calling you and go towards that. And in my instance, I did.
Yeah, I love that, what you just said, because I'm a huge believer in the fact that there's so many carbon copies of like people who want to be the same kind of, you know, type of person, or they want to be like the celebrity. And I'm learning that I'm like when people ask me like what do I do or who I am, I'm like, I don't know, to be honest. I'm multifaceted. Not to say that in a cocky way, just knowing that I'm not limited by I'm just a photography guy. I'm not just
Yeah.
a podcast guy. Nah, I'm a youth worker. I'm a photographer. I'm a podcaster. I consult people on social media. You know, I love spending time with my family. If that could be a title, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different things that make me me. It's not just your title, or it's not just what people speak over you, but
Yeah.
you control and you can define who you become by the actions and by what you believe in yourself, right? So I think that's super huge for you. Is like you were saying, like, you know, when people speak that over your life, and then even having that support, like, it's good to have the right people. But then I guess it could also go in a negative way, where you could have had a teacher that said you would have never amounted to anything.
Yeah.
Like, I know some youth who have had those teachers, like my little brother, you know, growing up having ADHD as a young kid, his kindergarten teacher said he'd never amount to anything. The man's doing child and youth work now in Sheridan College. I'd love to see her and be like, yo, like, get your facts straight. Like, the
Yeah.
man's doing his thing, you know what I mean? So I guess words have the power to kind of affect our trajectory, right?
And for me, like, I've had experiences with that, like the negative words as well. And not everyone can kind of turn that negativity into something positive.
True.
Like, I was able to, like, while I was trying to do my thing, trying to find myself, trying to believe in myself, I heard people that were passing their opinions, like, you know what, they were trying to dictate how I should live my life, right? They're like, oh, maybe you should, like, pursue, like, ball, or like pursue all these other things. And I'm like, I'm not that person.
More
And
people say just to black kids that you should pursue basketball.
yeah, I don't like, even at one point in my writing, I got so fed up that I just started speaking on it. Like, you know, I was trying to just avoid it, but like, that's the truth in these days. Like, people expect like black kids to just become rappers, or like
ball players.
do ball, or like do something illegal. And like, I'm
wow,
like,
that's
yeah,
true. That's true.
like, with me, man, you know, I got to a point where I was trying to convince people who I was, like, convince people why I should be like respected and stuff, right? Because they're like, oh, you're a poet. Oh, really now, right?
As if that's like, that can't be a title, right?
that can't be a title. And it's very important to realize that what you can do on your own, right? What I mean by that is, like, sometimes you don't need all this limelight. You don't need all the praise and stuff. You just gotta know yourself, right? Know your worth. Know, like, what you're capable of. Like, know if you tell yourself, oh, I want to be a chef and stuff, you can't become a chef overnight. You got to keep at it. There's going to be trial and errors and stuff, but you got to do your research. You got to, focus on the goal, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't believe in yourself, then how do you expect other people to, like, believe in you?
Facts, yeah.
When you don't believe in yourself, it's easier for you to become swayed by the things that other people say.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's important that, you have people that are in your corner, but you got to be in your corner for yourself first.
Because when they're not in your corner, or that's
one mandatory
moment, yeah, when you're not in your corner that one moment, then it's like you have to be able to be happy in who you think you are instead of just people, because people are going to fail you all the time, right?
And the sad thing is that people, like, switch up, right? And it's really sad, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
But if you know yourself, and you knew yourself previously before your opinions and what type of box they try to lock you in and stuff, right? Then you'll be okay. But if you don't, then you'll falter. Like,
I'm literally sitting back here and I'm like, yo, you're not rhyming, but I'm like, like spoken word out here.
No, I'm just getting into a zone right now, because, like, it's my experiences, man. Like, I've waited so long to be given the opportunity to just, be able to say this up front. And I'm so thankful that you're giving me this opportunity, right?
Yo, I'm so thankful that you are on this show. Like, I'll touch on it a bit later, but like, this guy makes me so proud. Like, whenever, like, I'm not saying like I was a big factor or anything, because I wasn't, but to be able to be a part of this guy's journey for the few years that I've known him, like, yo, I'm honored, because whenever I go places or people are telling me about like youth, they know I'm like, yeah, but you don't know Shawayne Dunstan. You don't know Mississauga Young Citizen of the Year. Okay. But, speaking of, in terms of like, you were talking a little bit about inspiration. Where do you get inspiration for your pieces? Do they kind of stem just from personal experiences? Are they imaginative? Like what inspires you to write?
That's really a big question, man. There's a lot of factors.
There could be multiple.
Okay, so the first one is, my experiences and stuff, right? I consider myself a pretty positive person, but there are moments that I don't know why I can be surrounded by so many people that care about me and just want to see me succeed, but there's a part of me that just feels so alone, really. And as I was saying, I'm able to kind of transfer that negativity into something positive. Like I'll speak about it. Like I feel that's important to let it out. Right? Sometimes it's okay not to be okay. That sounds kind of that sounds kind of corny and stuff, but nah. Like we all go through things, really. And if you keep on just trying to lock all that feeling into the like closet and stuff, like eventually, like the bolts are gonna break and it's just gonna come out in a moment when you really don't want it to come out.
True.
I'll tell you about an experience. When I was in middle school, right? This was like a couple months after I had first started writing, right? And I was going through some experiences in regards to my family, and I was still trying to find my place, really. I had friends, and I was like doing like a little bit of clubs and stuff, but like I just felt like left out still, right? And I was actually struggling with depression, like, and that was just like a really big factor that just it was a big factor. And I remember this one day where I was having a conversation with somebody, and unfortunately the conversation just like turned a bit sour, and I felt like they were kind of like attacking me, just trying to speak on my life and all these things, and I kind of just broke down, really, right? I was like, you don't know me, you don't know about all the things that like I'm going through and stuff, right? And later on I realized that I wasn't necessarily yelling at them, like trying to get them to understand. I was kind of saying it so that I would understand that, that I wasn't all right, really. So that's an example. Another example is my pieces just come from my imagination. Really, like I'll think of the weirdest things and I'll just like put them together in words, and eventually I want to make a full out book. Like that's my goal. But the reason why I really like doing poetry is because you can pick it up and you can put it back down.
True.
I feel like my number one fear, if you ask anyone when it comes to writing, is that I'm fearful of making a full on book because I feel like I won't be able to keep the audience's attention.
Wow.
Right? Like some people have like a copy of like my manuscript for like a couple books and stuff, but like they've never been more than like 40 something pages and stuff, because I reach a point where I'm like, what do I do now? I don't know, and like I know eventually I'll overcome that obstacle and stuff, but
so do you ever experience like really bad writer's block? Like
yeah, I do.
How do you push past that?
I try to find something to fill the time. I try to fill my mind with like things that I enjoy. Like in this instance, like I really enjoy music and I like watching movies and stuff. So I try not to really dwell on it, really. Or what I do is like I'll try to just sit down, just start writing, not necessarily paying attention to what I'm writing. Like I have no ideas. Like, or I'll just talk about my day and like just try to get my view on how I really feel on things. Like if someone annoys you or someone like says something that kind of irks you and stuff, and you'll say like, oh, it's not such a big deal, but like deep down, it kind of hits the nerve and stuff. So I just try to get my real take on it when I'm alone. Right? Yeah.
So for you, writing isn't mechanical. It's like sometimes you may write a piece that may never get published, but that was kind of the inspiration for the inspiration. It's like sometimes you have to get yourself into a mood, like when we were just talking right now, and you're like, I'm in a zone. Like sometimes you have to do things to put yourself in the zone, and I guess that's what you do, right? So I know so many people who wish to, but never actually get around to actually publishing a book.
Yeah.
So can you talk about your experiences now that you have 5 books published? Kind of like, what was going in your mind leading up to publishing book 1? Like, why did you decide I'm going to publish a book, and how did you go about doing it?
I'll tell you guys a story. I came up to Canada in 2006, and from 2006 till about 2016, every member of my family, which was my sisters and my dad, had taken a trip back home to Jamaica, except for me, right? So in 2016, my dad kind of got like fed up, and he sent me down to Jamaica on my own, right? I was terrified of a plane, stuff, right? So I went down there, and taking that trip was like, it has been so significant over the years since then, because when I went down there, like, I just saw where I was coming from, right? Like, when you're a child, my memories as a child of what it was back then, and when I went back, and it's like, it shows how things have changed, right? And it was good to see where I was from. And my uncle, he sat me down one day, like, probably, like, I went there for a month. Oh my gosh, I went there for a month, and my uncle sat me down one day, and he's like, you know what, you are so lucky. Like, he wasn't trying to stuff it down my throat, but he was like, you are so lucky. You don't know what people would give to be in the shoes as you. But what are you gonna do with that opportunity that you've been given, right? So I was 16 years old at this point, and I was like, man, I don't even got a job, bro. But like, that just made something inside me start to brew. At this point, I was still continuing with writing, because like, that was kind of helping a lot with my depression, and helping me get things out and stuff. But I wasn't doing it officially. What I was doing was, like, I was taking the first few steps to going towards actual publishing. At this point, I was doing a couple more performances. I was it was the first time that I was really putting my work online. I was putting it on a website called Wattpad, and Wattpad, you're technically publishing your work, but it's only electronically, and then people will read it, and then they can give their opinion and stuff. And those opinions and stuff really just allowed me to improve. Really, they were like criticism, either bad or good, but you know, sometimes you need the negativity and the positivity to merge into one, right? So you can become better. So after I returned from that trip, I was like, you know what? How do I put his advice into play? Right. So at this point, it was the middle of August. So what I did, I went down I realized I needed a job, right? Because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make this first book happen. And that book was Guilty by Association. So in short sense, what happened with that was I went down to the community center, and Chris actually helped me find a job calling for the job that I'm still at. And the job that I'm still at is called Chaska, right?
Yeah.
So went down there. I did this was my first professional interview and stuff, and I was terrified. They're like, so what type of cooking experience do you have? I'm like, man, I was making some like sushi in school and stuff. Like we're putting things together. Man, I felt like I wasn't qualified. Man, I was so shocked when the man called me back. I was like, oh wow, this is the start of something really, really big. So I started working there at the end of August till now, right? So my first couple of paychecks I put together, and I said, okay, I have the money, right? Now I just got to find a company. And what happened with that was I had this history project. I'm the type of person, I'll be like, sometimes I say that I'm not going to wait till last minute. But I waited till last minute. I was doing this history project, and it was like 1 a.m. in the morning, right? And I was falling asleep, and I was thinking about writing and stuff, and I was like, you know what? How come I haven't been looking for any companies? Like, my uncle was calling me, and he was like, yeah, so how did it work out? Are you finding like opportunities to do something that you love? Like, make something of yourself, right? People tend to say that. And I looked online, and I found this company called Ex Libris. And they said, leave your information and we'll get in contact with you, right? And they ended up calling me in first period. And I was like, wow. So this first book was really easy because I had all the material. So all I had to do was just come up with a title, which was Guilty by Association. I'll explain that in a bit. Put the material together, come up with a title, and to send it off to them. All they would do is just publish it, really. So with the name, I'm really bad with names sometimes, right? Like I'll make the work, but it's hard to just put a title on your work, right?
It's true.
Especially if it's not like, if it's like a piece where, you're talking about change and it's like, oh man, I want to see change. Let's name this change. But if it's something where, it can be interpreted like so differently and stuff, it's hard to just like classify it by one thing. And I'm like, at one point I'm like, you know what? Untitled. Untitled. Yeah. So I named it Guilty by Association because I felt that you can be classified by what you associate yourself with, what you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with positivity, then you're more likely to be positive. If you surround yourself with negativity and people that are like, that want to procrastinate necessarily, then you're going to be liable to sit back and just watch the opportunities for your dreams pass you by. Right? You ever heard of those people that are like, man, I wish I could do this job. I wish I could get that. I wish I could get this amount of money. But when the time comes to put the work in, like,
they're not putting in the time.
They're not putting in the time, and then you just complain. So, all at the same time, I was still in school, and I heard that the book came out a day after my birthday. So I sent in the material at the end of September, and it came out October 19th, and I got the book, and I was like, wow, like, you have your first book and stuff, right? So I felt like this was the moment where, I should be feeling something. I should feel like, oh yeah, I did it and stuff, but I didn't feel that, and I felt like, it would be best to just continue and see where it takes me.
Yeah. So you got your first book out, you put it out, you got it right after your birthday. What did you face any criticism during or even after publishing the book that people were kind of like, I'm sure they meant well, but they were kind of just tearing down your dream?
Yeah. There was many of those that decided, they would like to express their opinions to me, right? And what I heard a lot was like, they weren't saying it up front, but they're like, who do you think you are, right?
Yeah.
Who is you to think that you're great, that you can make something of yourself, right? So this one person, I'm not gonna name them, but it was at school, and they said, I was asking them, I don't feel as if this was my best work, right? To be honest, Guilty by Association was only 40-something pages. Yeah, it's my first book, but 40-something pages, even I, as a youth, knew, that's pretty short. Yeah. And I was saying, I was contemplating whether I could do better, right? So if someone approaches you, if someone approaches you about your opinion and stuff, like if they can do better, it's only common sense to be like, yeah, you can do better and stuff. But people are allowed to give their opinion and stuff. And somebody's like, usually it takes 10 years for an author to put together a book and stuff that's really suitable for the audience and stuff. 10 years. Ain't nobody got time for that. No. I tend to say this quote a lot, and it's something that I've been telling myself, right? If I wait 10 years, 20 years, if I wait until the time is right if I waited until the time was right to put out my books and stuff, right? Then I don't think I really necessarily would have even put out the books. What I mean by that is that there's always things that come into play. There's your career, there's your family, there's time, there's your age and stuff, there's your best interest. What if I'm not as interested in the future? What if my drive like dies down and stuff, right? There's going to be factors and things that I can never control, but I have a feeling inside me right now that I'm trying to hold on to, right? So when that person told me that, it necessarily takes like 10 years or like a little bit more for authors to follow up their work and stuff, I was like, Took me 2 months.
Wow.
Book came out in December, right?
You're not subscribing to that.
No, but watch this. The book came out in December, and I was like, you know what? Let me just give my first book a couple months to grow. So I say, you know what, guys? Release this book on February 1st. I don't know why, but I just felt, you know what? That was the day. I wanted it to come out on that day. And when it came out February 1st, I brought it to the person, right? At this point, the book was 112 pages, right? Brought it to the person, and I say, you know what? 10 years? Who is you? Who is you? Who? I wasn't
respect on my name.
I wasn't trying to be rude, but I was like, who is you to put a timeline on my potential?
Facts.
Who is you to put like a timeline on my worth and what I can accomplish and stuff, right? Thank you for giving your opinion, for criticizing and stuff, because if you are at a level where you can influence others, it's only right for you to be open to criticisms and stuff. But from those criticisms, you gotta understand what you can achieve, right? You gotta take all those criticisms with a grain of salt. A lot of time when people are criticizing you is because you're the embodiment of something that they can't be, that they're afraid to be.
Wow.
Right?
I'm just sitting here and
that's the truth.
Super inspired. This man's too woke for me. So what advice would you give to another youth or young adult trying to get into publishing their work or pursuing the spoken word poetry field? What's some practical things you can give them if they're kind of facing some obstacles?
I'm going to be honest with you guys. Even though I did this and it seemed like, it was so easy for me, like I did these things back to back, make sure that you do your research and take your time, right? I was mentioning that that project that I was doing that night when, I decided to contact the company and stuff, and I ended up dropping out of that class, right? Because I was so stressed, man. Like how my days were set up, I was going to school, and then when school finishes like about 2:20, I had to go to work for 3 o'clock. I would come home at like 10 o'clock and I'll be writing until about 2 a.m. every single day, right? That was my schedule. That was my schedule that I set for myself because I said I didn't really have much time to follow my pursuit because I had to deal with homework, man. I had to deal with my family and all these other things, right? So I didn't have much time. But even though, it seemed like I took like a path and it seems like, oh, this was a good path because I have all these accomplishments and stuff. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's the only path, right? Take your time, do your research. Don't just jump into the things and just think that, oh, I'm gonna reap I'm gonna get all these things right away. No, you're not. And don't be like, it's okay to be afraid. Even to this day, I'm fearful, man. I'm fearful that like I'm gonna like lose what makes me feel good. Right? I'm fearful that like I'm not gonna be able to influence people like how I used to do back in the day. I'm fearful of myself. Whenever I'm making a new book, I'm looking at like, how do I talk myself? Like how do I like, when you're like, oh, the staring at the man in the mirror or like the woman in the mirror, it's like, how do I like top myself really? Like what I mean by that, you can't do that to yourself. You can't like beat yourself down like that because it's unfair.
Yeah.
When I was approaching each of these books, like I had a type of feeling, I had a type of message that I wanted to convey and stuff. And for me to be like, oh, this one isn't as good as this, or I want it to be better than that, nah, I can't. So what I want to say to you guys is just believe in yourself.
Yeah.
As simple as that. Believe in yourself. But be willing to put in the work.
Facts.
Don't just expect, oh, yeah, I'm going to become like a big superstar. I'm going to reach the top of my field, whatever that is, whether that's like you doing sports, you doing like the sciences or something or math. You got to be willing to put in the work. You got to take the time. You got to make time. Really, true. Man, I was at school. I was at work. Man, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I was doing an amazing job. Guys, I was scrubbing dishes. Wow. To this day, I'm scrubbing dishes, man. And at the back of my mind, I'm like, you know what? Even though I'm tired right now, even though I don't want to be here, I'm using all that. I'm putting in the time somewhere that I don't want to be so that I can have time to enjoy something which I've created. Something which I can use to spread a positive a positive message. You know, that's like creating light from darkness, right? Like I'm really keen about this topic, man. Like it's been a journey.
For sure. So currently, you have, I don't know how many books they are, but currently you have a book or two in the Mississauga Library System.
Yeah, man.
So how did you go about getting that done?
I actually spoke to Aaron. Aaron is a librarian at the Malton Library, and before I got my books on indigo shelves, I wanted to get it on the shelves because, you know, it's like, it's good to see your book like surrounded by other books and stuff. It's like, oh man, I made it, like I'm kind of there. And I spoke to her and I was like, how do I go about, you know, doing that? Like I don't know, like who knows how to get books at the library, but like, you know, she helps me out and stuff, and I am so grateful. But it took taking a risk like that to not be afraid to go and ask somebody, because you don't necessarily know all the answers. I don't necessarily know how to do everything. I don't know everything, man. Yeah. And you got to be willing to learn, willing to ask questions. That's the big thing. Ask questions before you do anything. Yeah. Right? Like, be courageous, be brave and stuff, but do your research and ask questions when you don't know. Yeah. That's so true, because I can't tell you how many times the thing about me is it's like if you could plug in an HDMI cable to my head and project it on a projector or TV, like my life is like a movie reel. Like I'm like Iron Man, you know, like when he's in the Iron Man suit and then he thinks of what's that Jarvis thinks of like how many different, there's a 90% chance of this happening, or there's a 40, like that's how my mind works. And I start like thinking of every possibility, playing it out like a movie instead of actually just doing it and actually just being bold and being confident in myself to just do it. And the thing is, a lot of the reasons why, for me personally, I realized why I did that is because I was so scared of failure, because I wanted to please people. I wanted to make sure that people didn't think of me as a failure, as opposed to, you got to take risks out there. You got to just have a confidence. There's that element of confidence in you where you have to believe in the product or whatever you're pitching or whatever your idea is. And if they say no, someone can say 50 no's, but there's that one yes that you need that'll get you where you need to go. Right? That's the truth. You got to be willing. You got to be willing to fail. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, my slate is clean, like I've never had any failures and stuff. Remember, I didn't do poetry before, guys. Like I was just doing my own thing, so I had to learn. I had to have had trials and tribulations. You know, I tried different formats. I tried different stories and different paths and stuff. But if I wasn't willing to take criticisms and to endure downfalls and just moments where it's like, you know what, that wasn't as good, but let me just, you know, dust myself off, get back up and try it again. Yeah. True.
So unlike most of your peers your age, you did something kind of like what Riaz did in episode 5 of RCT, which is kind of holding off on post-secondary education right now. You're working full-time. Why did you choose to do that and take a full-time job instead of heading straight into college or like a university program?
Even though I want to say, you know, I want to say that it was my dream to pursue like poetry, like finishing those 4 books like right away out of high school. It wasn't. What ended up happening was, and I'll tell you guys this too, read the fine print. I wanted to go to Humber for a writing program, right? Yeah. And, you know, I knew the program, I knew the deadline and stuff. And the day before, like I was skimming through it again, and I realized that the program, which was a writing program, was a postgraduate, which means that I couldn't have gotten into it without taking a previous course at post-secondary and stuff. So I was in a dilemma where it's like, oh man, I don't know where, I don't know what to do now. It's like I put all my eggs in one basket. I was like, this is dead set. I gotta go here and stuff. And I just procrastinated for a bit, really. And like I graduated, I got valedictorian, and when summer came around, like I was working and stuff, but I didn't know what I was working towards. Like I knew that definitely I wanted to go go back to school. I wanted to make my dad proud, but like I didn't know what to do in the meantime, right? So in August, I found this program called Restaurant and Hotel Operations Management, and that dealt with tourisms and like hospitality and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I was contemplating whether or not to go back in January, but I was fearful. I didn't know if I was going to be like ready. Like, yeah, it gave me the opportunity to go back and I could still be with my friends, but I wanted to start in the fall.
Yeah.
So I had a real conversation with my dad. I said, you know what, even though I'm out of school right now, I still want to make you proud. So instead of wasting time just sitting back and not really doing anything, I'm going to try and make a couple of books while I'm not attending school at the moment. And I'm telling you guys something. When on the first day of school, for like when I saw all my peers heading to post-secondary and stuff, I felt so alone, really. So like it seems like everyone's focus was like on that, and then I wasn't being a part of that, right?
Yeah.
And you see that everyone's doing your own thing, and I wanted to be a part of that, but like I didn't read the fine print.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing I like to ask on this show, if any, what role has faith played in all of what we talked about today in your life?
Faith has played a part in my life in the sense where when others didn't believe in myself, or when I didn't believe myself, faith was all I really had, really. Knowing that I had a higher purpose, knowing that someone higher than those around me believed in me, right? And that's something really, really positive. Like hearing your calling, right? Hearing your calling, know that you're destined for greatness, even though you're enduring all these like heartaches and stuff. But like knowing that if you just invest a little bit of time, you know, and just keep on trying, even though like it seems like nothing's not happening for you.
Yeah.
Right? That something great will eventually come. That's powerful, man.
Facts. So if you could go back in time, you got a time machine, you got the DeLorean from Back to the Future, and you can go back to grade 9, the first day of grade 9 at ASC, what would you tell grade 9 Shawayne Dunstan just about to enter those doors for high school? If you could warn him, if you can give him any advice for the next 4 years, for your life to come, what would you say?
What I would say to myself. There's a lot of things that I would say to myself. Don't try to do things just to fit in. Don't try to, you know, fit other people's like perspective, really. Because sometimes people look to others for things that they want to be, right? And if you're just like falling into the type of like portrait or once you fall into the box in which they like trap you in, it's hard to escape. The same friends that you have in grade 9 isn't the same friends that you always finish with.
Facts.
Right? So if you're in that box, right, and it comes time for grade 12 where you're thinking about life beyond high school and stuff, but you're still scared of losing like relations with those people, you're going to prevent yourself from prevailing.
Wow.
That's the truth. I've seen it happen to a lot of my friends, man. Like you want to keep the same relations even though those relationships aren't healthy, right? Those same people that are saying, "Oh yeah, I believe in you, man." Like, "Oh, you know, we're tight. We're this tight." You ever heard like ride or die and stuff? But at the end of the day, they're just gonna be minding their own business, man.
It's true.
Like somehow, like it's sad, but it's the truth. But they're gonna, they don't got you.
That's what I tell young people all the time.
That's why you gotta have yourself first. That's why when I went out and I did this poetry stuff, you know, that's when your real friends come out. When you do something for yourself, right? You're not trying to be selfish. Nah. You're just trying to do something that's like, you're investing some time in yourself. What I feel like these days, we're investing so much time in technology, investing time in like, yo, I wish I could have like a Gucci belt or like I could get like Louis Vuitton or something. Investing time in like
material things
and things that don't really have any worth, right? you have a lot of worth, right? You don't need people to tell you that.
Yeah.
But you're just trying to impress people. Nah, man.
So that's what you,
I would tell myself, and I would tell myself to be a part of more things. That don't be so fearful. Like, look how far you've come, man. Like, man, I was a shy kid at first, man.
Yeah.
I really started finding my voice in middle school, to be honest. And what I mean by that is, like, that just came from someone just approaching me like, hey, you know what? You seem like a cool guy. You're quiet, but, like, you know what? Come hang with us. And, like, sometimes you just need that little push, you know, of seeing that someone. The importance of company is a strong thing. Sometimes we think that we can do things alone. I can't do everything. I couldn't have made it this far alone. I couldn't have made it without that advice from the teacher. I couldn't have made it this far without, like, my fellow peers and, like, certain things such as Matt himself just giving me, like, advice along the way. Because, as I said, I don't know everything. And I couldn't have done it alone. So what I would say to myself is take more advice. Live in the moment.
Live in the moment. I like that.
And don't be fearful. It's okay to be afraid, but, like, believe in yourself. Even when it seems like, you know, that it seems like you're not who they want you to be. Like, you don't necessarily have to have everything, but as long as you got yourself, as long as other people got you, people that actually care about you, not only people that claim that they're going to be here for a moment and the next moment they're not, but just believe in yourself, man. Yeah.
I feel like we're in book 6 right now, this whole podcast. Like, you're writing it right now as we speak.
I'm just analyzing my life, man.
No, I like that. So before we go to rapid fire, I wanted to give you the mic just to spit some fire, some Shawayne fire. So if you want to do one or two pieces, the mic is yours.
Nah,
sir.
they're not ready. They're
not ready. They're not ready for this.
What do I got for you guys? This first one is called "Whenever in Doubt." It was so hard to come up with a title for this because, like, to this day I still have problems with titles. Like, it's easier for me to come up with a title for the book, but when it's the individual pieces, I'm like, man. Yeah. Wrote this for somebody. Hopefully they see this. There's nothing that I'm not willing to do for you, even when it seems impossible. I somersault over these obstacles constantly. You're worried about me, I know. But I've been on the down low, ducking foes on photos, woes, and those who claim to be loyal, but the love is the no-show. I've always told you not to fear, but even I grow quite hesitant when they ask me to sign right here. Wicked schemes set in motion to hinder those who dreams, who hold my breath in the scorching heat while focusing on the opportunities set out before me. See, I've been caught up with plans of doing better, because I believe that we can reach new heights when we motivate each other. It might seem as if I'm always caught up with things to do, but that doesn't mean that I won't make some time for you.
Fire.
That part where I was talking about, you know, like, signing and stuff, is just in regards to the companies, and, like, it was
comes from a deep place.
Yeah, it comes from a deep place. The other one that I want to share with you guys is called Nectar. And I was actually I performed this for Black History Month, and it's just, I'm tired of waiting on change, man. So it goes like this. Sorry if it sounds angry. How is it that we still have mothers praying to guns to not take away their sons, control it, but trigger fingers being utilized for fun? Looking for change but can't find none. Looking for change but can't find none. You're looking for change but can't find none. I'm looking for change but can't find none. So I weep constantly, praying to God that I'm able to harness this creativity into a legacy that lasts beyond the day that I turn 60. See, trials and tribulations got me contemplating whether or not it's meant for me, because hatred is aimed at my chest, and unfortunately I'm not wearing a vest. RIP to the day that I rest. I have the tendency to analyze those around with such precision. Men, women, children all asking the same question, where do I fit in? Because on TV is yet another victim who fell because of the decision that they were a threat. All this negativity has got me feeling depressed down to my last dollar, asking what do I do next. I fear that stagnation will solo up this generation because far too often we procrastinate as nights turn to day over and over again. It's a cycle, yo, like an eye for an eye. We might look different, but we're both trying to get by. I refuse to compromise because we got to lift our voices to the power that be and shoot them that even when the flame flickers, it still blazes eternally. Yeah.
Woo! I had to like pull away from the mic or but woo!
I get emotional when I'm saying that.
Wow. Wow. Honestly, like I watch so many spoken word. Like there's one guy like Rudy Francisco. When I was in my feels, when I was going through some breakups, Rudy Francisco was my guy. But like I wish that I could be a spoken word artist one day. You gotta train me. I don't know that I would do it for a public, but I think I just want to do it just so I can just have something. But
memorization is a hard thing, right?
It is. Oh, and even just the flow, because there's certain things you emphasize and there's certain emotions on certain points. Like you can't just be like say you can't just be like gunshots. You gotta be like gunshots. Like you have to emphasize certain things. But yo, thank you for spitting those pieces. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, so we reached that time in the episode where it's rapid fire. So first thing that comes to your mind, or either or nothing. Okay.
Let's go.
Pepsi or Coke?
Pepsi.
Come on. Coke guy. I'm a Coke guy.
I don't know. It just has like a little ting.
Okay. Advil or Tylenol?
I don't take pills.
Okay. DC or Marvel?
Marvel.
Shakespeare or Robert Frost?
Who's Robert Frost?
Okay. Oh my god. I honestly just went on Google and I'm like famous poets and I'm like, I think he's like that kid's author, writer, whatever.
I don't know.
Okay. I guess he's not that important. Maya Angelou or Margaret Atwood?
Maya Angelou.
Favorite place you've traveled, local or international?
Niagara Falls.
Favorite book you read or are currently reading?
Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
If you could recommend one book.
Wait, no, I have. Oh my gosh. The opposite of loneliness.
Okay. Caribbean Star or Mr. Jerk?
Caribbean Star.
Okay. We got a lot of Caribbean Star fans out here. Favorite song right now?
J. Cole, Dollar and Dream.
Favorite poet of all time?
Maya Angelou.
Name a song that puts you in your feelings.
Kendrick Lamar, You.
All right, so you get a call. Famous Spoken Word Club needs you to perform tonight, and you have to perform one piece from all your work you've created. What is your go-to piece you're performing?
Nectar.
Who is a spoken word artist on YouTube or IG that everyone should go follow right now?
Rudy Francisco. Yeah.
Most influential person on your life?
My sisters.
If you can go back to a single day of your life or a point of your life, what day would that be if you could time travel?
Oh my gosh.
24 hours.
The day that I was coming to Canada. I just want to live that excitement again.
Yeah. If there was a movie on your life, what would the title read? And then I'm going to ask you a follow-up.
Oh man, yeah. I named the title of one of my books. The Undisputed Defeat of an Adolescent.
And what actor would they get to play you?
Oh shoot. Michael B. Jordan.
Hey, okay. You're like Adrian. If you could have coffee with anyone from any point in history, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh man. Will Smith.
If you could be any animal, what would you be?
I'll be a penguin, man.
Yo,
I'll be a penguin.
Why is every answer he's just like thinking about it, and he already knew he wanted to be a penguin?
Yo, penguins are sick with it, bro. You seen Happy Feet? Yo,
oh my god,
bro. If I could have a penguin, that would be so sick with it.
This guy, oh my gosh. Favorite poem you've read beside like one of your own poems? Like piece. Is it a Maya Angelou piece or is it like?
It's Leonard Cohen. It's called 1,000. It's one of his favorite, like 1,000 something, man. Or if it's Maya Angelou, then it's gonna be Phenomenal Woman. Like, yeah, man.
Okay, I gotta check those out. If you were stranded on an island, what 2 things would you want with you?
I would have a piano. I gotta learn how to do a piano, and I would have peanut punch.
Peanut punch. Okay.
Yes, yeah, man.
What style did you rock that you look back now and wish you never rocked?
Hipster, but like technically I'm still a hipster. Like, bro, I was wearing dress shirts to school, bro. Like it's what?
Okay, let me see if you were on this craze. Yanni or Laurel? Oh my god,
man.
Cornell was the same way. I'm like, Yanni, you're loyal. He's like, pardon me, and I'm like, come on, you didn't hear that thing? We're like,
bro, I heard it, but like it kept on switching up on me, bro. I forgot about it.
Laurel. I heard both, but that's just me. But what's something most people don't know about you?
I'm dramatic, really. Yeah.
Drake or Pusha T?
Drake, what?
What job?
No, Drake be putting me in my feels, man.
Marvin's Room is like that feel song for me. What job would you be horrible at?
A lawyer, man. Put you on the spot. Like, even when you know that your client like did something, it's like, nah. But it wasn't him. It wasn't his car, man. It was.
At the end of your life, someone saying your eulogy, what would the biggest legacy that you leave behind would you want to be?
My children, my poems, my impact on my family and community.
Where do you feel the most out of place?
I don't really.
You go somewhere, like for me, like it's like when I go to like I'm in a multicultural area all the time, and then when I go up to like Coburg area and I go to Walmart and everyone stares at me. But
nah, Perry Sound, bro. I took a trip up there, man, and it's like, what are you doing up here, man?
Lastly, what's the title? If your life was a book, what's the title of the current chapter of your life right now? If you could put a title to it.
Oh man, wow! I just told you that I'm bad with titles and you give me titles and stuff.
You got to do it. Think of something. What sums up where you are in your life right now?
Shoot. Vibes.
I like that. All right. So we finished our rapid fire. So it's time for Guest Corner. So this is your plug time. Any social media you want to shout out? Next books, where they can get them. The mic is yours, bro.
Okay. So once again, my name is Shawayne Dunstan. My books are available at Indigo. You know, it's on the shelves. It's at like Square One. It's at like Young and Dundas, and it's at like Bramley and Yorkdale. Actually, it's hard to get in there. And it's also at the Malton Community Center. I'm on Instagram at Shawayne508. That's SHAWAYNE. If you can't remember that, it's Wayne with a sh, so SHA.
Okay.
Yeah. My next book, man. Like, I'm gonna be taking a break right now. I think I really just gotta go back to, you know, how I started, and that's like without fear and without just trying to please people. I think I got into a cycle where it's like I was writing the piece, I'm like, oh man, I should say this and this, right? And that's not good because that's not your words, right? You're just doing something for people to look at it like, oh man, he did exactly what I expected. No, I don't like being predictable. No, that's not good. True. In the meantime, you guys can watch out for my next book, which isn't necessarily a new book, but it's like an anthology. I realized that not a lot of people have had the opportunity to check out my books, right? So I got a couple pieces from each, and I put it together, and it's kind of a remaster of my second book, which is The Undisputed Defeat of an Adolescent. And Don't Worry has like some of the biggest pieces from each put together. It's coming out in like 40 something days. Hopefully sooner. Like these companies, man.
Yo, flash the books. You brought them here.
What?
Yeah.
I got to show.
So just show you
guys. Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the first one. It's Guilty by Association. As you guys remember, I was saying like it's very small, and I was like, nah, man, like I can do better than this. So I went back to the drawing board, and I was like, what? Let me do this. Yeah. So this is like 112 pages and stuff, and I'm not just. You know, it's not, oh, I made this much and stuff. I actually spent the time, like, you know, what they say about, like, quality over quantity. Yeah, I spent the time and stuff and made sure that what I was really putting in this really just, if someone thought about Shawayne, it just summed me up, really. Like, all my thoughts, whether that was, like, happy thoughts or, like, bad thoughts, and, like, what I was seeing around me and what my hopes and dreams were, right? This was really, like, my adrenaline, really. So that's it. And then I came out with oh gosh, man, look at me, I'm messing with my books. This is called Wallflower. Wallflower is just like, it was talking about me just analyzing everything that I was seeing around me and just realizing how blessed I am, really. Because I'm the first like writer in my family. Like it's Wallflowers is me just being grateful for taking the path that not a lot of other people have taken. That's simple.
Boom.
Blessings. And then we have Loose Change and Pineapple Waves. I don't know how I came up with that title, but I'm gonna explain it. Okay, Pineapple Waves represents imagination, just things that you've never really heard that, like pineapple waves and stuff, right? I was probably eating a pineapple and I was staring at the ocean.
I like it. It's
waves. And then Loose Change just represents me just being in my lows, right? Like Loose Change is the journey.
Yeah.
Like whether that's me at the restaurant, whether that's me just having a bad day, Loose Change represents the struggle. Not having everything that you want, but knowing that you're destined for something more. It's true, bro. And then we have Poor Man's Nectar. So with this cover, you know, at one point after I made Loose Change, I got fed up of just like putting on a photo on the front of the book, because what they do is they send you online on a website and just choose and stuff. But I saw the photo for The Undisputed Defeat somewhere else, and I was like, what? That's my cover. But so I wanted to make something original. I wanted to look back and know that, you know, I did a cover where no one else has it. If I see it, I'm gonna know that it's mine and be like, what are you dealing with? So I drew this while I was waiting at an appointment at the community center. I don't know what it is, but a lot of my friends think that it's like a horse. People think that it's like a peacock. I just like the feather, you know. I like the feather, bro. But yeah, that's it. You know, I'm always walking around with a journal. Like this is my latest one. But yeah.
Nice. I like that. So that wraps it up for our show today. I'm going to leave links to everything Shawayne has going on in the description, the IG, you know, the Amazon links to get the books, etc. So if you guys want to check him out and connect with him. But before we go, Shawayne, I wanted to give you some words of encouragement, because you're this hardworking young man, and I like to gas you up all the time, you know. But one thing that I love about you is that you're not just inspiring young people, but even at your recent poetry reading, there was like grown adults there. Like there was people in their 60s there coming out and being like, I write poetry too. And like, you were an inspiration to them. So like, keep doing your thing, because sometimes you might not even recognize it, but like sometimes you're even silently motivating people just by pushing past the noise. And that's exactly it. Like, you push past the noise. You don't let the criticisms of people affect what you do. A lot of people don't get past that publishing stage or even the writing stage because they're so worried about what people think. But two of the reasons why I bought his books is because I believe in everything that he does. And the second reason is when he pops up and gets famous, then, you know, I'm going to have a signed book from Shawayne. I'm not going to sell it, but, you know, if I go into bankruptcy, I'm going to have to sell it still, you know. I'm joking. But
before I go, can I just say one more thing to the youth, right?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to be great, right? A lot of time, I feel like in this day and age, a lot of us want to fall in the footsteps of everyone before, but like sometimes you feel like you'll never truly become that person or like reach their pedestal. Nah, make your own pedestal. Get on top of that.
Facts.
And, you know, be you. Be you. Like, it's simple as that. It seems so simple. Sometimes you don't want to be yourself. You want to be somebody else. But nah, you're capable. Like, who are you not to be great? Like, nah, people want to be like, oh, who do you think you are and stuff. I am me and I'm great. I am.
Preach.
I'm Shawayne. I'm Shawayne, and you're you, man. Like, it's a wonderful thing, man.
Yeah.
We as human beings, we're like building this stuff. Guys, have you seen the CN Tower? We built that. Like all these things, we're capable of so many things, and like I feel like a lot of youth's happiness and hopes and dreams get smothered out because, you know, people are telling them what and what it should be or shouldn't be. Nah, man. Be willing to take risks. Be willing to invest time in yourself from like when you're young and stuff, so that in the future you're better, right? Don't be afraid to be better than what you're seeing in your community or like seeing around you. You're capable of greatness.
All right, Mr. Woke Guy, let me keep gassing you up. This guy just wants to speak facts all the time. But one thing that I like is you're demonstrating that you don't have to follow the typical career path, that creatives can make some cash, they can make some loose change and enjoy their passion too. I was watching you at your last live event, like I said, and the level of poise and confidence you have, I don't even see that in some professionals, even some like even while you were sitting there and fielding questions, like even in this episode, like when you say something, you take a step back, you think about it, but you're intentional. You're not just speaking out of, you know, your passion in that moment, but you're thinking about, like, your words even in these Q&As have the power to affect people's lives. So you're just like, you're really intentional, and like your poise and confidence really inspired me. And it really inspired me to get out of my comfort zone. And I'm like, yo, one day I got to do a live event and not be worried about what people think. But like I said, I'm always so proud of you. I'm always bragging about you to people everywhere I go. And I'm enjoying seeing you grow and continue to push the envelope with yourself creatively and in your craft, and just breaking the stereotype in this area that every kid has to become a lawyer, every kid has to become a doctor. Nah. You can be a poet. You can go for hotel and tourism, whatever. Like, yo, this is like the 20 millionth time I said it, but, you know, your 9 to 5 doesn't have to be your passion, right? And you're showing that, yo, you're putting in time washing dishes, working at that restaurant, but yo, it's paying for your real thing, which is your passion, right?
Thank you.
So I'm proud of you, bro. Like, I truly am proud of you. I'm not just trying to gas you up.
Yeah.
I am so happy to be like, man, I know a young person like that who broke that like stereotype in Malton and is doing something that they love. Not just doing something great, but doing something that you actually believe in yourself for. Because it doesn't matter what people think. If you believe in yourself, bro, I will support every single book. I'm purchasing one on Amazon, not because of just the content, but because I believe in you. So I wanted to thank you for being on the show today. It was truly a blessing to have you, because you're adding value to youth and young people. Definitely have to get you again for like a panel episode or something like that. But Shawayne, thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks, it's a pleasure.